Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the first edition of my college football stadium series. And guys, today we are going to go over the worst college football stadiums of the Power Five. I'm not going to do Group of Five, Division, non-Division One. It's only Power Five, my top five worst stadiums based on my opinion. And guys, I am also excluding college teams that are playing at NFL stadiums like Miami, like Pittsburgh, because let's be real, if I included them, Heinz Field, actually it's not even called Heinz Field anymore, but the college atmosphere is horrific. It would be number one by far, but these are facilities that are and were built for football, for college football, and they're just horrible. So we're going to go over my top five, ladies and gentlemen, kicking it off at number 5, Jones AT&T Stadium. Now, the funny thing with this, you take one look at the stadium and you realize there's high school stadiums in the state of Texas that are 10 times nicer than this place. Although recently we've seen in the news, Texas Tech has approved, I think it was a $200 million renovation. That's what they do with college football stadiums. Very rarely will you see a Power 5 university completely build a new stadium. If they can, they'll just renovate it, and apparently this stadium is supposed to get renovated, so hopefully it gets better than this. But as you guys can see, just looking at the photos, there is not one thing that's unique, that's interesting about the stadium. It sits 60,000 people. When I look over at a stadium, especially for college, I'm looking at unique features, and I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing a cool end zone. I'm not seeing a cool student section. Very bland, very standard, and it is sad. It's located in the frickin' state of Texas. You know how big football is in the state of Texas. There's high school stadiums that are better than this. Moving on down to number 4, it's going to be Vanderbilt Stadium. Now, they get points for using their name in the stadium. I like that a lot. Vanderbilt Stadium. This place only sits 40,000 people. It was opened in 1922. They had a major renovation in 1981. And as you guys can see, I don't know if anyone's familiar with Indiana football, but this looks like a smaller version of Indiana Stadium in my eyes. It's just not, the bleachers just don't go as far back. I don't know if you guys can see that. And apparently there is a planned renovation to the north end zone. I actually don't know if it's the north or the south end zone. I just made that up. But it's one of the end zones is being renovated. And you can see some renovation photos, but it has not happened yet. I believe they've been talking about that for a while. But just looking at the stadium overall, it's got one deck. I mean, good Lord. And realistically, with Vanderbilt, they're not going to have, the alumni to fill a massive stadium. So realistically, you'd want a more futuristic 2-deck approach with, cut the first deck in half and make a second deck. It would look a lot better than having just one really, big wall of seats, which is what this stadium has. But yeah, guys, it is what it is. It's Vanderbilt. I believe they're getting a renovation because, you look at the one end of the end zone, all it is just like grass. It literally looks like a high school field. Forget a high school field. It looks like an elementary field there at the one end zone. Good Lord. But guys, Vanderbilt Stadium comes in at number 4 on my worst stadium list. Moving to number 3, and it is going to be Ryan Field, home of Northwestern. They've been planning a massive renovation, or actually, I heard they might just completely rebuild this place. I really have a love-hate relationship with it because it is unique. I have to give it credit. It's very unique. The problem is it's very ugly in terms of its uniqueness. The one side of the stadium has like a little hump the way the seating goes, if you guys can see that. So that's very unique, but overall, there's nothing good about the stadium. It's extremely small. It looks extremely cramped. Looks very old at worst. It's in need of a major renovation. And again, a lot of these stadiums have been talking about renovations, but we haven't actually seen any action. There was a crazy rendering of a potential Vanderbilt stadium, but in my eyes, the rendering, I mean, it looks like the capacity of that rendering is like 70,000. I don't think 70,000 people would go to Northwestern games, so I think they should build a new stadium, but a smaller stadium, keep the cost lower, make a capacity of 50,000, make every seat be good, do a 2-deck approach, but both decks don't have a lot of seating, so it looks better. That's just my opinion. And then obviously, I believe with this stadium, one of the end zones just straight up doesn't have anything to it. So it comes in at number 3, Ryan Field. This was built in 1926, and I don't think it's had a single major renovation, so let's hope it gets one. But guys, moving on down to number 2, it is Memorial Stadium, home of California. And you take a look at this dump. I believe this is after its renovation. They added suites to it. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I think that was their big renovation, was adding suites. And again, there's just nothing to the stadium. It's one-tier deck. It's like a worse version of the Rose Bowl. At least the Rose Bowl, it's got the mountains, it's got the mystique. It's like they wanted to make this a smaller, worse Rose Bowl. I do like the golden seats color. I think that's a very cool color, but you're looking at it, again, it's a knockoff version of the Rose Bowl. And this is after its big renovation, so they're going to be stuck with this for a while. They already poured a bunch of money into it. They should have just made a new stadium. I don't like the 1-deck approach at all. And if it wasn't for the renovation, I mean, this place was a real dump before the renovation. The renovation is what saved it from being number 1. Actually, you know what? I take that back. When you see what number 1 is, oh my God. Guys, let's get right to it. Number 1, the worst Power 5 stadium in college football, David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium. It's got a freaking track going around it. Or I don't know if it does anymore. It used to. So they said they were going to renovate the one end zone of this stadium, and it just hasn't happened. It literally, I swear to you, I think my high school stadium was better than this. Oh my God. Like, you go up to this, how is this a Power 5 stadium? How is this allowed? Somebody tell me. There was a renovation plan to the one end zone, but nothing happened. And there you can see what a massive scoreboard. Make some noise. All the 35 people in attendance will definitely get very loud for Kansas University. And of course, you know, the top 5 worst ones are always going to be bad teams. We know Kansas is one of, if not the worst Power 5 team. And what you're seeing, once again, the one end zone, there's just nothing to it. There's a little scoreboard and then looks like, I don't know, 50 seats total. So just a horrible, horrible stadium overall. We'll see if the renovation happens. We would love to see something happen there. But guys, my top 5 worst college football stadiums. Number 5, Texas Tech. Number 4, Vanderbilt. Number 3, Northwestern. Number 2, California. And number 1, Kansas is finally number 1 in something. Well, actually, they have a really good basketball program, but they are number 1 in the worst college football Power 5 stadium as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.